Hey, welcome back. You've done the hard work. Now it's time to seal the deal. In this segment, we're going to break down some of the final things that you need to be doing as you're mastering the franchise sales funnel. You don't want to miss this. Your next franchise success depends on it.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, welcome back to Franchise Pitfalls and Profits. We're talking about mastering the franchise sales funnel. And in this segment, we're going to dive into one of the most critical stages, the end stage of the franchise sales process, and that is closing the deal. So whether you're a broker helping candidates make this life-changing decision, or you're the development rep, you're working for the brand and you're trying to finalize a prospect's commitment, this step is going to require strategy and finesse and a deep understanding of what's going through the candidate's mind at this point of making a decision. So let's start and to break it down so that you can add to your franchise placement successes. So first up, let's talk about some strategy at the end for effective deal closure. And again, it's going to vary depending on the role that you play. And we're going to hit on some of the differences. So let's talk about the broker. At this stage, you're still guiding your candidate. I've seen too many times in franchise sales from the standpoint of a broker where they hand the baton off and they really fall out of the process. They do what everybody calls check-in calls. And after a while, your candidates realize that check-in calls do nothing for them and do everything for you as the broker. And so you've got to eliminate this thought that, hey, I'm doing check-in calls. And you've got to eliminate the thought that you're, as a broker, you're not of much value down the line, because you are. You're still guiding your candidates to making an educated and a confident decision, and you're helping them. They may be looking at more than one. Sometimes people get down to just one, but sometimes they're still looking at two. I like to get candidates to a place after several weeks of talking to brands. If they're looking at more than two, I like to get them to narrow down to two, but you're still guiding them to make a choice, a positive choice from their short list. So the key here is to continue to position yourself as that trusted guide, as that valued advisor and resource. So be sure that they're not bailing on the process too early. I've seen it where candidates, I think I've got enough information, or, I don't like this little piece, or I don't like that little piece, or, hey, the brand rep pissed me off, or, boy, I just felt kind of uncomfortable with this brand rep. We see that on occasion, but don't let someone back out of the process that's going to help them achieve their dreams and their goals in life. So if they want to drop out for some reason about one of the brands, find out why, discover the real key behind how they're feeling, and then deal with that. If their thoughts are accurate and their feelings are correct, okay, drop that brand. But, sometimes it's something that they've misunderstood. Sometimes, as I said, it might be the individual development rep. By being an executive in one of the largest broker organizations, we've actually had to go back to a franchisor occasionally. Doesn't happen a lot, but we've actually had to go back to the franchisor and say, there's something mismatch in personalities or characteristics, but this candidate really likes your brand. They just didn't feel comfortable with your development rep. could someone else help out? And often yeah, they will. Almost every time the brand comes in and makes a change or makes a correction, and the candidate can still move forward with that particular brand. The other thing you want to, as the consultant, you want to be emphasizing that, hey, this decision is not just about the numbers. Yeah, the finances have to work. I get that, but your candidates have to align with the brand from the standpoint of culture, from the standpoint of values, from the standpoint of ambitions, from the standpoint of confidence in the support teams and the leadership. So they can't. I've seen it. I've seen where people have gotten into a brand because the numbers made sense, but they had a funny feeling that some of the other stuff wasn't there. And indeed, in 2 to 3 years, they were trying to exit that brand. So emphasize that the decision is not just about, can I make money with this brand, but does the brand resonate with me for a lot of these other reasons that we've talked about. All right. Now, hey, for you development reps, you brand reps, you want to be reinforcing the trust. You want to be reinforcing the things that you know were hot buttons or keys to that candidate. And really, at this stage, I've often heard and I've used the phrase "assume the sale." You want to get to a place where you have on a scale of 1 to 10, they're an 8.5 or a 9 probability of moving forward. So you want to start to assume the sale with your candidates. You want to remind them again of the matches. Why have they felt so good about your brand? How is it fulfilling again their needs, their goals, the alignment of their skills, again, those transferable skills. You want to be reinforcing this kind of stuff as someone's getting down to the end, as someone's getting close to making their ultimate decision. You want to talk to them about the fact that your teams, you're going to be getting your teams ready. When would they like to start? When would they like to start the business? And that your team will work in advance with them to get them the fastest ramp up. And we talked about that in the last segment. That's a concern, is how quick am I going to get this business up and running? You want your candidate to understand what your team is going to be doing to work with them and to train and put some things in place for their long-term success. Closing the deal is also, again, if you haven't spent too much time with the FDD or specifically in the FDD, the franchise agreement, you want to be sure that that's done. You want to make sure that they understand the terms, the conditions. You just don't want any surprises at this stage in the funnel, at this stage in the sales process. You just want to be looking for anything that might interrupt them from signing. And really, really big thing in all of this, how does this actually transact? I've seen, I know a lot of Fran Dev reps that are just kind of worried or feel uncomfortable talking about, okay, well, you need to sign the agreement and get it over to us, and then your deposits or then your franchise fees have to be paid or whatever. A lot of times I've seen development people just kind of miss that point. They send out the prepared franchise agreement and they wait. And, honestly, this creates some confusion. And honestly, sometimes I've seen where it's actually created uncertainty in the minds of the candidate. Hey, what am I doing now? I don't understand what's expected of me now. At the end, I've decided, I've verbalized, I'm ready to go. So make it very clear what the final signing and payment process is. Don't overlook that. Don't pass over that. Don't assume that they just know what they're supposed to be doing. So, of course, no deals are closed without hesitation. Again, buyer's remorse is almost settling in before they bought. Fear, leading up to the decision, fear starts to settle back in because this is a significant investment in their future. As brokers, you want to be sure that they realize it's not the biggest decision they've ever made. Typically, buying a house has been bigger. Certainly, getting married, starting a family has been bigger. So don't let them get all jammed up over making this decision, but you want to be sensitive to and observant of any last minute hesitations. And I think that's very important for the broker because of, again, you being unbiased, neutral guide through this whole process. So reassure your candidate that they've done thorough vetting, thorough research. Keep going back to the reasons. There are positive reasons people make this decision and are influenced by, and there are negative influences. Keep focusing on and revisiting those long-term benefits. Why does this decision meet their goals, their objectives, and their long-term dreams? Maybe it's the freedom of being their own boss. Maybe it's lifestyle improvements and changes. They're never going to, or almost never going to have to travel again and be away from their family. Just financial stability. There's so many industries over just the course of life that downsize, that shrink. This gives them, your candidates, complete control of their livelihood and their finances. Whatever it is for them, whatever those keys are, at this stage, Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. or Miss Broker, you need to be reassuring that the long-term benefits are going to be met by this decision. And then remind them, that your support isn't necessarily going to go away at the end of signing. You can still be there to answer any other kinds of questions about business startup and franchise startup and opening their franchise. So let them know, and or lending or borrowing in the future or buying a second brand, whatever it might be. Reassure them that you're not running. You're still going to be there. Now, for the brand reps, again, you're reinforcing the specific keys and highlights of how your brand specifically matches. You want to reassure them with success stories and very much so what they can anticipate onboarding wise, what they can anticipate startup support wise, what they can anticipate from coming to your training. So be very specific with others who have done this before and done it really, really well. Here's how Bob and Sally are doing. You talk to them in validation. Remember, here's how they're going since they've been onboarded, since they've started our franchise. Introducing them, to the whole onboarding process. I have a brand that we work with closely, have worked with for several years, where in their discovery process, in actuality, the candidates get to meet each one of the people that will support them, who are responsible for that segment of operating the business. And so, reinforcing, hey, you met Joe. Hey, you met Sam. Hey, you met Sally. In these different segments, you had questions. You were worried about this piece of the business. You already met Sally, and she's going to be the one to help you in that area. So you, as the brand rep, need to be constantly reassuring them that you can onboard them, and that your onboarding support is not only strong in the startup phase or in the short-term phase, but that you're setting them up for long-term success in your network, in your brand. So that's a wrap of segment 6, closing the deal. That's a wrap of mastering the franchise sales funnel series. The whole series has been about understanding the phases and the steps and what people are going to go through. Remember that closing, this last one here, closing isn't just about a signature. You still are building that trust. You have you're addressing their concerns. You're reassuring them, and really at this stage, you are paving the way for a great onboarding, a great ramp up, and long-term success. So thanks for listening to this series of Mastering the Franchise Sales Funnel. Thanks for being part of the Franchise Pitfalls and Profits podcast. Whether you're a broker or a friend, dev, rep directly, we want you to continue to be part of our podcast. And again, as you find value for these episodes, please subscribe so that you're always plugged in to the next session. We've got a lot more coming at you. I hope you enjoyed this series.